One thing that I'm really called to kind of speak to right now, and then I'd like to be able to just kind of hop around this circle, is that, I love words. And when we think about emotion, it's like the motion of this energy center. Emotion is an energy center that collects remnants of leftover emotion, right? I believe that they were initially given to us as a notification in this sea of information that's around us all the time, Hence Buddhism saying, you detach from emotion so that you can watch. This place of observance to where we can start playing this game and making all these choices consciously rather than habitually, right? Which is a place where you guys are right now, right? So I want to kind of walk you through this series of exercises, right? And in that mindset of energy has depth, it has a consistency. Most often it has a color, right? When I go out in the woods, I see orbs of different colors everywhere, right? So as we move through this exercise, I'd like for us to observe those energy centers in our field. And I'd like for us to think about it like that so that we can start with an action creating some separation, right? We're going to really do a body scan, understand what we feel like right now, independent of the feelings of anybody else, right? Each one of you has this sacred space around you, right? And then I want to call in your highest and best. Right? Now, in this space, most often we have been taught to go up to, and I want to pull her to you, right? Just as when we go back in time and interact with our young selves, we want her to come to us, right? Because she's already done it. She's already made the mistakes. Right? She already is doing that anyway. And the more consciously we can pull in that fully realized self, we're stepping into that time. Does that make sense? Some questions that I'd really like you to start exploring about yourself, right? And your energies and your powers so that you can start making these fine-tuned distinctions, right? Around, all right, this is when I'm optimum, right? Because that's what we're pushing towards, optimum, right? Back to that, the great white wizard's eye of the needle, right? When we think about that eye of the needle, like whatever is trying to fit through there has to be an absolute integrity. It can't be tattered. It can't be frayed to fit through there, right? We have been tattered and frayed, right? So this emotion, right? If this creator was going to make us with this freaking amazing computer that, humans have been trying to duplicate in one way or the other, cloning or machine-wise, since the beginning, right? I feel that we would, now we've watched this system build out, right? We've got the soul, we've got the astral body, we've got the physical body, we've got the energetic body, right? Is it possible that we would have been set up with a notification system, right? It seems that we would. And, you know, if we could think about the idea that, you know, it's said that where there's like 400 billion bits of information coming into our brain every second, right? 400 billion bits. So could it be that these emotions that the Buddhists are talking about are really an alert as to the motion of where to put our attention, right? Now, if we were clean like children, right? Where children step into a space, they go, ooh, I don't like that. I'm going to stomp my feet. I'm going to carry on. And then I'm going to like walk on to the next thing, right? They're alerted to a need for themselves, right? And in the West, we have been taught to live there. We have been taught to live there. And when we are carrying these buckets of emotion, that most of us are walking around with these buckets of filled with residue of old stories, of old unresolved issues, right? That the moment that we're standing in, rather than just being a ding-ding, becomes a fire, right? So that's something to very much be aware of, is what I'm feeling right now in correspondence to the circumstance, right? And we have to be objective to do that, right? Because if it is not, right, we've got some more cleaning house to do, right? So when we can be aware of that and depersonalize to some degree these waves that we're feeling, and be observant about, like, is that today or is that, 20 years ago, right? Is it? And if it's not pertinent, we have to be wise enough to take a few steps back, right? And go, okay, that's a place I need to pay attention to, right? But I like the idea of that being, emotion being a state of motion, like our attention being pulled in a direction, of a circumstance which is, we're either to enjoy for the moment or we're to create strategy to move through, right? When we're walking in with, most often, we have to understand that truth feels very little, right? Truth feels very little, right? It's when the words start coming in and the stories start coming in that we start really feeling. So we have to understand that as that story is building, it's building with programs of old building blocks. And words have morphic fields, right? So as Brooke and I talked yesterday, with more awareness comes more power, but with more power comes more personal responsibility for how we're using these words, what we're entertaining, right? What we're entertaining. Are we allowing that bell to go off and just, like, able to show up and analyze and respond in real time? Because that's what we have to understand. The clearer we are, that is the goal, to be able to respond real time, right? Not talk in circles, just be able to go from start to finish real time while you're standing there. Can you understand that? Like, it is a cool feeling, right? Somebody said that to me recently, like, it's crazy. You just, like, respond in real time. And I never really thought about that before, but that is the goal, right? To not be walking in with baggage and just be able to say, huh, you know, I've got a friend that's a complainer, you know, and just to be able to say, huh, I'm struggling to have compassion around that right now. I love you though.
Yeah.
You know? And just be able to say that without like, you know, and it is interesting how people respond when you're not showing up emotionally. Like you're just in truth. They kind of get in a fugue state, right? And then there becomes an awareness of like, oh, you know, that's how I'm being received. Because we get in this Truman Show mentality and all we see is ourselves. And we've been fixing ourselves for a long time. So we're used to analyzing, right? So it's time to drop it. You guys are all pretty clean. When you know that you're triggered and you know, hey, I've got a teenage version that's showing up and kicking my ass right now, then that's, you know what to do about it, right? You know what to do about it. No, it's just a completely new way of being, right? There's no more nice, because nice is just a sugar-coated lie, right? You know, it's being kind, and kind is truthful, right? Without being mean. You can just say, hey, like, I have a lot of stuff on my plate right now. I can't deal, you know, you need to do you.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. So you guys can just close your eyes once you're comfortable. I want each of you to feel the drawing down of that energy right now. I can feel it just really coming in. So just allow. Before we get started, I want you to just without any labels, just what's your perspective of yourself right now? Can you see yourself sitting there? Can you see the whole room? Are you looking at your eyelids? Just kind of think about that. And if you are in, this is a good exercise for creating balance. If you're out, let's come on in. I want you to bring your awareness to the ceiling above the top of your head. And we're going to drop down through the crown of your head into your corpus callosum. Now we're going to think about that space, that passageway, right, as a level, and you're that bubble. We want to find balance there. Stretch your muscles a little bit, expand. Good. Now we're going to draw that energy behind your eyes back into that bubble. Now, as that happens, I want you to be aware of the triangle you're creating between left, right, and third eye. So be aware of that. Now from there, we're going to drop down to your heart, your chest. We're going to fill that up. Gonna fill up your arms, your fingers, your belly, your thighs, your calves, all the way to the bottoms of your feet. And I'd like for you to locate the pulse in the big toe of your right foot. Just a nod when you've got it. We're going to bring our awareness over to our left foot, the big toe. And we're going to find our pulse there. Just a nod of your head when you've got it. Okay, great. And I'd like for you to bring your awareness to the top of your head. And we're just going to scan down. And I want you to notice what feels different. And go from the top of your head to the bottoms of your feet. And you're just making mental notes for later. You have a sticky board. And I'd like for us to be aware of the size of our field right now. Your field is your protection. So I'd like for you to be aware of, is it 2 feet away from your body or is it 10 feet away from your body? If it's close, I want you to push it out. You should be really strong about 6 feet out. If it's too far, I want you to pull it in. And again, I want you to make some distinctions around what feels different. And I'd like for you to ask to be shown these energy centers. I usually see them as color, so however that shows up for you.
Where are we looking for those at?
In your auric field, that's 6 feet of energy that goes out, that you, just however they show up. And again, I want you to make a mental note. Are they scattered about? Are they like organized? Are they real close to your body? What's that like? Now, this auric field being your protection, right? I'd like for us to move those energy centers out. And I'd like for them to create an alarm system around the edges of your field. And again, we're just going to note what feels different right now. Now again, I'd like for us to start at the top of our head. We're going to work our way down. And we're going to just notice where our attention wants to pause. And we're going to make mental note.